Welcome back to yoga on Saturday morning. My name is Marella. I invite you to take a good sitting position. So sitting up tall, press your sit bones into the floor, stretch the sides of your body long, invite your shoulder blades onto your back, move your ears back, and turn your attention inwards. And you can either close your eyes or have them open with a soft gaze, just in a soft, unfocused gaze, and observe your breath. I invite you to bring your hands to your heart, and we'll open with 3 ohms. Exhale, inhale, 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 open your eyes, release your hands. So word of the day is sourdough. Since the start of lockdown, I received a piece of sourdough from a friend of mine, and I've had it a couple of times in the past, but I thought, now I'm going to get the hang of this thing and how to work with it. So, you know, you get the piece and it's very sticky and it sticks to your fingers. It's only a small little piece, and each day you add a cup of flour and a half cup of warm water, and you mix it up and you put it back in the scrape down the sides of the bowl, cover it with a saucer and leave it till the next day, you know. And when you come back to it the next day, it's bubbling away. So you should do something with it every 24 hours. But of course life gets in the way and sometimes you forget about it, you know. And if you forget about it, if you don't do it, the life goes out with you. The reality of sourdough is, if you don't do something with it every day, feed it every day, it begins to diminish and close down on itself. And it's a very great analogy to yoga, because if you don't do something, a little something every day, either a few stretches or a moment just being with your breath, or some moments of meditation, you begin to close in on yourself again, and that ability to expand on a physical level, even between the vertebrae of your spine, they start to push down. I'm sure if you ever notice, if you, at the end of the day, you can be noticeably smaller than you are at the start of the day, because your spine is impacting on itself and you push down into yourself. So it is in yoga, and I just really like the example of sourdough. Doing a little every day, it turns into this magnificent loaf. You have to cook it properly and all of that's at the other end of it. But eventually I'm getting there and producing half decent sourdough bread, sourdough pancakes and sourdough pizza. I prefer the pancakes and the pizza than I do the bread. I have to say, the crust is very hard, even though I put water in it and all in the oven, all that kind of thing. But I'm still learning. But anyways, take it onto your mat and know if you don't work with your sourdough, you're going to end up compacted and contracted. Come onto your hands and knees and come into cat-cow. And exhale round your back up towards the ceiling, and inhale, lift your head and look up. Sink down between your shoulder blades. Body follows breath. Exhaling, rounding up. Inhaling, sinking down. As much movement in your spine as you can get this morning. waking up your spine. You're kneading the dough now. You're adding to it, you're feeding yourself. You're feeding your sense of well-being in your body and in your life. Coming back to a place of stillness, we're moving into down dog. Turn your toes under, lift your hips up. Externally rotate your upper arms, lift your hips high, and we're going to work through down dog, plank, push-up. So see if you can do 5 rounds. So floating yourself forward, coming down into chaturanga or push-up, and then back up into down dog. And do 5 rounds. You might have to come down in between, that's okay. It's where you are in your body. And do 1 more for luck. And make your way onto your hands and knees. Coming into tiger. Right arm out in front, point palm inwards. Left leg out behind. Stretch fingers forward, toes back, lift your head, look up. Engage your core. And switch to the other side. Left arm out in front, right leg out behind. Stretch fingers forward, stretch toes back. Gaze ahead of you. And then same side, right arm out in front, right leg out behind, flex and point, gaze straight ahead. And switch to the other side. Taking your weight onto your right knee, your right hand, lift your left knee, your left hand off the floor. And release. Coming into tremulosa. Cross your ankles behind you, sit back in your heels, and if you have blocks or 2 books or something to give you a little bit of leverage, or you could place your hands on the floor and then placing your blocks, sit back in your heels, super glue your heels, your hips to your heels, press down with your hands into the floor, straighten your arms, and then lift off the floor. Take 5 breaths. And release and switch to the other side. Now maybe you didn't get off the floor at all, that's fine. Crossing your ankles, you placing your hands on you sit back into your heels, and maybe you might just get one foot off the floor, and just, that's where you are, just you're working really hard anyways, so inhale and lift off. And release. Coming into leg lifts, make your way onto your back. Lie on your back, bend your knees, bring your knees into your chest. Clasp your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, elbows into the side of your face. Inhale, stretch your legs up towards the ceiling, lift your head and shoulders off the floor. Exhale, inhale your legs to the floor, exhale, bring them back up. Knees touching off elbows, and keep that going and see if you can do 3 sets of 5. Legs straight if possible. If you have a lower back thing going on, do it with your knees bent, or one leg at a time. And make your way to standing up, coming into crescent. Just stand for a moment in mountain. Press down equally with 4 corners of your feet into the floor. Stand tall. Stretch the sides of your body long. Move your ears back. Pay attention to your breath. Moving into crescent. Lift your arms overhead, clasp your right bicep with your left hand. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, move your hips to the right, your torso to the left, be as sideways as possible. Root down equally with both feet into the floor. Keep squaring your hips, your shoulders towards the long edge of the mat. Move your ears back, lift your gaze slightly. Be even more sideways, but careful not to collapse into the side that you're leaning towards, crescenting towards. That's such a verb. Inhale, come back up to center and switch to the other side. Clasp your left bicep with your right hand and move your hips to the left, your torso. Inhale, come back to center. Moving into power pose, hands band. More difficult, feet together. More doable, feet hip width apart. Clasp your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, and place them on your sacrum by bending your elbows. Bend your knees, lower your hips, round your back, bring your forehead to your knees, lift your arms off your back. More difficult, wrists together, more doable, wrists apart. Then sit back in your throne, engage your core, get out of your own way. Inhale, press down, stand up. Stretch your arms out in front of you, point palms towards each other, hands shoulder width apart, and then bring the head of the arm bones back into the shoulder socket. Bend your knees, round your back, bring your forehead to your knees, stretch your arms out in front, sit back on your throne. Press down, stand up. I'm coming into power pose. Again, feet together or inner hip width apart, yogi's choice. And just careful where the root of your second toe is, that is pointing directly towards the middle of your ankle. Inhale, lift your arms up, hands shoulder width apart, bend your knees, keep your back straight, move your ears back and engage your core, gaze straight ahead. And just press down into your ankles, endeavouring to keep your back straight. Press down, stand up. Moving into tree pose, shift your weight onto your left foot and lift your right foot and place it against your ankle, your shin or your upper inner thigh, wherever it's easy for you today. Initially, bring your hands to your heart and you may stay here. Press down with the standing foot into the floor, stretch your spine, and then inhale and lift your arms up, or keep your hands at your heart. Stretch hands up, stretch fingers up, move ears back, root down with the standing foot into the floor. Return to your breath, notice your breath. Inhale, exhale, and release your arms to your sides and switch to the other side. Shift your weight onto your right foot and lift your left foot and place it. Release. Oops. Move into warrior two. Step your feet wide apart. Parallel the outside edges of your feet with the short end of the mat. Check that your second toe is lining up with the middle of your ankle. And then pivot your right foot so that your toes are pointing towards the short end of the mat. Line up your front heel so it bisects the arch of your back foot. Square your hips, your shoulders to the long side of the mat. Inhale your arms up, moving into warrior two. Bend your right knee, sink down, move your front knee out in line with your second toe. If you need to walk your back foot back a little bit, it might be a good idea to do it so that you're not taking a short down dog, and then look out over your right hand arm. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor, engage your quad of your back leg, engage your core, draw your lower ribs back, invite your shoulder blades onto your back, lift your chin slightly, gaze out towards the horizon. Make sure your front knee is in line with your second toe. Press down, stand up, and switch to the other side. Turn your right foot in, turn your left foot out, bend your front knee, sink down. Careful not to lean out over your front thigh. Move your front knee out in line with your second toe. Look out over your left hand arm. Press the outside edge of your back foot into the floor. Engage your quad of your back leg. Press down, stand up, turn your left foot in and step your feet together. Moving into Tadasana again, root down firmly with both feet into the floor. Stand tall, stretch arms down, stretch fingers down, move ears back. Observe your breath. Moving into high lunge, walk to the back of your mat. Inhale, lift your arms up. Step forward with attitude and intention with your right foot. Bend your right knee, sink down. Lift your back heel up to vertical. Front knee over front ankle. Lift your torso upright, lift your gaze, look up. Lower your hands to the floor to down dog. Step your right foot back. Lift your hips up. Externally rotate your upper arms. Grip the floor with your fingertips. And then invite your hips to come even higher. And from there, invite your heels to come towards the floor. Engage your quads. Look at the point between your fingertips. Or between your thumbs, sorry. Step your left foot forward, lift your torso upright, lift your arms upright, lift your back heel vertical over your toes, lift the back of your back knee up, lift your gaze, look up, sink down. Lower to the floor, step back into down dog. Walk your hands back, stand up. And moving into eagle pose. Shift your weight onto your left foot and lift your right leg and wrap it around the front of the left leg. Lift the left arm and wrap the right underneath. Or with your, if this is not available to you, just bring elbow to elbow. Or instead of taking the double wrap with your arms, Bring the back of your arm to the back of your arm. And then bend the standing leg and sink down. Lift your gaze, back straight, engage your core. And press down and stand up and switch to the other side. Shift your weight onto your right foot and lift your left leg and wrap it around. Lift your right arm and wrap the left underneath. Hug the midline. Bend the standing leg, sink down, move your ears back. Press down, stand up. Warrior 3 leg lifts. Lift your arms overhead, clasp your hands together, point your index finger. Or you may place your arms on your hips, your hands on your hips. Step forward with your right foot, lean forward, lift your back heel off the floor. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, lower. And do 4 more of those. Press down, stand up, and switch to the other side. Walk to the back of your mat. Inhale your arms up. Step forward with your left leg. Bend your left knee. Lean forward, lift your back leg out behind you. Inhale, stretch up. Exhale, bring down, and so on. 4 times. One more for luck. Make your way onto your hands and knees, coming into twisted monkey. Step your right foot forward. Take your weight on your left hand and move your left hand out towards the left hand side of your mat. Bend your left knee, bring your heel into your hip, reach back with your right hand, and then move your hips forward and down. Move your left hand forward. Roll your left shoulder back, your left ribs back, lift your chest, look up. Point your right elbow towards the ceiling. And release, and switch to the other side. Front foot back, back foot forward, right hand out to the right hand side of the mat. Bend your right knee, bring heel to hip, reach back with left hand, clasp foot, move right hand forward, lean forward, roll your left ribs back, your left shoulder back, lift your head, look up. Release. Moving into down dog and then side plank. Pivot your ankles to the right. And then stack your left ankle on top of your right ankle. Take your weight on your right hand. And then place your left hand on your hip. Stay here more doable, more difficult, lift your top arm up. Roll your ribs back, your shoulder back, lift your chin out of your chest, push through your heels, engage your core. Lift the sides of your mouth, also known as a smile. Come through, down dog, and switch to the other side. Take your weight onto your left hand, pivot your ankles to the left, stack your right ankle on top of your left ankle, float your shoulder over your left wrist, and lift your top arm up, or simply just place your hand on your hip, and then lift your gaze. Press the sole of the left foot towards the floor, makes the hips come up a little higher. You spread your fingers in your top hand. Release your hands to the floor and make your way into 8-angle pose. Come onto your hands and knees, bend your elbows, float forward, place your chin on the floor, your chest on the floor, and walk your hands back so that your forearms are vertical. Turn your toes under, lift your hips off the floor. And coming over into endless pose, place your elbow into the middle of your mat, line up your elbow with your shoulder, with your hip, and bend your left knee and catch your big toe with the first 2 fingers. This may be as far as you feel like going today, or stretch your leg up and then draw the leg towards you. Push through the leg that's on the floor, push through the heel. Push through the heel that's stretching towards the ceiling, engage both quads. So now we're noticing in our practice the heat is beginning to rise, pretty much like the sourdough. And of course from heat comes transformation. And then switch over onto the other side. I'll just go to the end of the mat so I keep facing you. Place your elbow. Line up your heel with your hip, with your shoulder, with your elbow. Bend your knee. Clasp the big toe or the outside edge of your foot, whichever is your preference. And stretch your leg up. Push through the heel on the floor. Engage your quad. Push through the heel that's reaching towards the ceiling. And gently release. Make your way up into Gatekeeper. If you have a block this morning or a book, now is the time to grab it. Kneeling up straight. Stretch your right leg out towards the middle of the short end of your mat and place a block somewhere about your knee. I'll use it on the lower setting, or you can put your hand on the floor, yogi's choice. So place your hand on the block, press elbow into knee, knee into elbow. Lift your left arm up over the top of your left ear and look up at your palm. Straighten your front leg. Roll your ribs back, your shoulder back. Inhale, come back to center and switch to the other side. Stretch your left leg out, point your toes towards the middle of the mat, place your block, place your hand, Press elbow into knee, knee into elbow. Lift your right arm up, bring it over the top of your ear, and roll your right hip back, your right ribs back, and look up towards your palm. Straighten your front leg, your left leg. Bring your toes to the floor. And release. Coming into camel reps. Bend your elbows. Bring your elbows into the side of your body, palms facing down. Knees hip width apart, feet hip width apart. Press your hips forward, stretch the sides of your body long. Broaden across your collarbones. Inhale and lean back, but keep pressing your hips forward. Lift your head, look up. Exhale and come back up. So do 5 of those. Squeezing your heels in towards you, but not actually moving them, isometrically moving them. And one more for luck. And we'll come into full camel. So you can either place your hands on your hips, you can place blocks behind you and reach for your blocks, or reach for your heels. So if you are reaching for your heels, inhale, lift your arms up, and then windmill your arms back, push your hips forward, place your hands on your heels, and then squeeze your inner heels towards each other, push your hips forward, lift your chest up. Inhale and come back up to centre. And coming into kneeling sage. Stretch your right leg out in front of you. Turn your toes up. And just move your right foot out towards the right hand corner of your mat. Then inhale, lift your arms up. You can also use blocks in this. Exhale, hinge forward and place your hands either on the floor or on your foot or on your knee or wherever it's comfortable for you today. Push through your heel, turn your toes up, bring your chin to your shin. Body follows breath. Inhale, come back to centre and switch to the other side. Right foot back, left foot forward, torso upright. Inhale, expand up, reaching up. Exhale, hinge forward and place your hands where it's comfortable for you. Keep pushing through your heel, draw your toes back, engage your quad, chin to shin. And release. And come into elevated bow. Make your way onto your hands and knees. And then bend your right knee. Reach back with your left hand. Catch your ankle. And then inhale and lift your right knee off the floor. Lift your head, look up. back foot, your toes of your back foot, your left foot. Use your leg to lift your leg. And release and switch to the other side. Reach back with your right hand, clasp your left ankle, lift your left knee off the floor, use your leg to lift your leg, kick your heel up and back, float your shoulders over your wrists, look up. And release. Moving into bridge pose. No, actually, moving into fire log pose. Come and sit up. For some of you, this is what you will need to do. Lift your right foot and place it across your left knee. For others that are able to make your way into a fire log pose, bend your left knee and bring your heel under your right knee. So you can stack, your shins are stacked. Press your sit bones into the floor and then inhale, lift your arms up and exhale and hinge forward and bring your head to the floor. Make both feet active. Inhale, walk your hands forward. Exhale, sink down. Keep pressing your sit bones into the floor. Inhale back to centre and switch to the other side. Place your right foot on the floor. And again, if you're doing it with the straight leg, do it with the straight leg. Lift your left ankle, place it on top of your right knee. Stack your shins, make both feet active. Press your sit bones into the floor and then inhale and stretch up and exhale and hinge forward. Inhale, walk your fingers forward, exhale, sinking down. Come back up to centre and make your way into bridge pose. Lie on your back, bend your knees, place your heels in front of your hips and then press down with your feet into the floor. Float your hips up, walk your arms in underneath, clasp your hands together, interlace your fingers, stretch your knuckles down towards your heels, walk your heels back closer into your hips and then press with your heels, float your hips up even higher, press your head into the floor, lift your eyes, lift your chin out of your chest. And then moving into upward bow, you can stay in bridge or place your hands under your shoulders, feet hip width apart, press down with your hands into the floor, press down with your feet into the floor and then either come up onto your head and stay there or make your way all the way up into upward bow. and gently release and come down and come into constructive rest. Bend your knees, walk your feet out to the long edges of the mat, allow your knees to lean in towards each other. Place your hands on your abdomen, palms facing down, index fingers pointing towards your pubic bone, thumbs pointing towards your navel, and turn inwards. Moving into reclined west stretch. Bring your knees into your chest, clasp the outside edges of your feet with your hands and stretch your legs up. Feet can be hip width apart, more doable, more difficult, feet together. And then invite your toes down towards your head, soften your elbows, press the backs of your thighs up towards the ceiling, press your lower back into the floor. Notice your breathing. Make our way into east stretch. Come and sit up. Place your hands behind you. Walk them back. Inhale, lift your hips off the floor. Bring your toes to the floor. Release your hips to the floor and coming into staff pose. Place your hands by your hips, turn your fingers forward, push through your heels, invite your shoulder blades onto your back, move your ears back, stretch spine up, bring your awareness to your breath. And coming into forward fold, roll your thighs in towards each other and just move your buttocks out of your way by putting your hand into lifting, and then inhale, lift your arms up, and again feet can be hip width apart or together. And then gazing beyond your toes, flare your buttocks, press the backs of your thighs into the floor, squeeze your shins in, push through your heels and just gaze softly out in front. Come into reclined child's pose, lie your back, bend your knees and hug your knees in. Give yourself the most loving, gentle, compassionate, kind hug. Love yourself. And it's time to make your way into relaxation. So stretch your legs out, stretch your arms out, and make yourself as comfortable. You might like to get a blanket or an eye pillow and just sink into the floor. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, just rest. Begin to deepen your breathing. Bring your intention back into the body and onto the mat. You can stay here and continue to rest, or move your hands, your feet, awaken your body and make your way back up to sitting. I invite you to bring your hands together, close your eyes, turn in to honour ourselves, each other in the practice, and to keep working with the dough. We close with one Om. Exhale, inhale. Om. Thanks for practicing. Thanks for coming to practice. See you on the mat.